Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel today. This is Paul at Kentucky Tacklebox. Today I want to talk about chatterbaits. Um, I've had chatterbaits in my tackle box for probably about a year or two now, and I thought they would be a great lure and I could catch a lot of fish with them, but my results have not been really that spectacular with chatterbaits. I've managed to hook into a couple fish with them here and there, but it's not been one of my go-to lures, let's put it that way. I find that for me, this lure tends to work more seasonal, more like in the fall feed up time frame and early spring pre-spawn when the fish are actively feeding fairly aggressively. I have better luck with it. The rest of the time, it's just sitting in the tackle box. So instead of just having it sitting there, not using it very often, I decided to see if I could just maybe modify it and maybe make it a little more versatile of a lure. So what I did was I just took the blade that's on the front of the chatterbait and basically did snipped it off. And that allowed me to just rig it up like a typical jig head. But what's different is that because the chatterbait has its own little skirt near the front of the jig head, that allows you a lot of options. You could actually fish it as is with the blade removed, just as a jig head with a skirt, kind of similar to like a swim jig. Or you could add different trailers to give it a different look or profile. So what I used to get the blade off of this was just a couple of tools, actually. Just a pair of diagonal cutters like I have in my tackle box. And then also what helps is using these tin snips. They'll allow you to make more aggressive cuts through the blades. And basically you can see the blades I've kind of taken them and just snipped them off and kind of cut them apart. And the other thing I did too is, let me go back to the original chatterbait here. You'll notice that the chatterbait does come with an extra piece of hardware here. I don't know if it's going to show up very good in the video or not, but there's like this little line tie piece right down here that's kind of angles down a little. So when I'm trimming the blades off, what I'm going to end up doing is just direct tying the line right on the eyelet for the jig head. But I want to save these little pieces here because I like the fact that they're pre-bent and they have a loop on each end you can tie a line to. So I'm going to harvest these off of the blades as well, just so I can do something with them later. And so what I've done is I've cut like 3 different blades off, and I've also cut these off. Kind of zoom in so you can kind of see it a little better. But basically that's the hardware that comes to attach the blade to the jig head on the chatterbait. And so I'll save those and I'll use those for a future project. It's got my mind thinking that I might be able to kind of rig up my like a mini Alabama rig or something using these pre-bent ties, maybe using another piece of wire to create a form or a platform. I don't know. I'm kind of kicking around some ideas in my head right now, what I'm going to do with these, but I will find that there will be use for them soon. So anyway, once I had the blades trimmed off, I wanted to show you a couple of options as far as rigging them, the old chatterbaits. So now that they've been converted, let me zoom out here just a smidge. Okay, so now that they've been converted into more like a swim jig with a skirt on it in the front, here's an example of one. I've just added like a clear plastic paddle tail on the back. So you have basically the swim, like a swim jig based off the old chatterbait with a paddle tail in the back. Another one is using a Ned rig, and this is a TRD Ned rig, which kind of floats. So what's kind of neat about this is if you add something like this to it, when it's in the water, the tail end is going to want to float up. So it's going to want to bounce around on the bottom, kind of like this, bouncing it around as you drag, bringing it along the shoreline. So that would make it a very interesting look as far as fishing this lure. And then another way, this is I think it's a forward-facing minnow, and it doesn't use a paddle tail. It uses kind of like a split tail like that. Some people call these like a Demiki style tail, and that's another option. But I mean, you can get creative. I mean, if you have a lot of different soft plastics that you enjoy fishing, pretty much anything you could thread on there, whether you have like a Bobby Garland, a crappie magnet, a curly tail, you name it, pretty much whatever, soft plastics you enjoy using, there's no reason you couldn't throw any of those on there and make them work for you. And it also allows you different colors. You pick your colors that you like. You could even try to match them or coordinate them with the skirts that were on the chatterbaits to start with, or you can switch these out because they're just held on with a rubber band. You can switch them around. So if you find that you have chatterbaits, but like me, you're having trouble having a lot of success with them, and you don't want them just sitting around, convert them into just a regular jig head with a skirt on it. It's not exactly a swim jig. It's not exactly a chatterbait anymore, but it's kind of, your own custom bait now. You can kind of do with it what you want, add your own trailer on the back and see what it does for you. You might find that it's going to catch you a lot of fish. So just sometimes thinking outside the box or trying to find a repurpose a lure, maybe give it a new life with a different look, is just the ticket to get the fish caught. So as always, thanks again for watching the channel, and get outdoors when you can. There's still some fish to be caught here in Kentucky, even though the water is getting cold and the temps have been starting to get a little cold here. But we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.